We're going to get to everything today. We'll get to the football giants in a minute. Right now we're talking Yankees. Then we'll get to the Mets. Remember the Mets press conference at 4 as they name their new manager. 5 o'clock, Eli Manning. Vincent Wilton. What's up, Vince?
Hey, Mike. How are you?
What's up?
I think it's a no-brainer to me, as you said. Particularly if Tanaka comes back, you try to get CC for a 1 or 2 year deal, correct?
I think they're going to bring whether Tanaka does or doesn't. I think they're going to sign.
The other thing is, Hicks is a career 232 hitter. I mean, would you consider, if you were unable to trade Ellsbury, to give Ellsbury the job in spring training and let him play? We owe him $68 million.
I don't believe that they would. I don't think that they will do that based on economics. I don't think you're going to get the job based on your contract. I mean, Ellsbury. I don't think any way you look at this, Ellsbury is their starting center fielder next year on opening day. I think that would be hard to. I think they will try to move him. They may try. Listen, the only way to do it is if they pay the contract. That's it. That's the only way they can move him. If they don't pay the contract, he'll be back on the team. But I think he'll be back on the team as a part-time player. I don't think he'll. They don't even like a center field play anymore compared to Hicks. Hicks was in that series because he played defense. That's why he was in that series.
Do you think they'll leave Headley at third base, or will they get someone else?
I think it depends on how the kids come along. I think they'll have Headley on the contract 1 more year if they need him. He could be a part-time player. They could start to elevate the kids. They have multiple kids here. It depends how fast the kids come. I think they could have a kid at third. They could have a kid at second. It's all possible. The kids could come very quickly. It could definitely work that way. They have Gleyber Torres is going to make a move next year to the majors. I don't know what point. It might not be out of spring training. It might be halfway through the season. I'm not sure when it will be. He will be on the Yankee roster sometime next year. Bob in Monroe, what's up, Bob?
Yeah, thanks for 30 years, Mike.
Thank you.
What's up? Run.
Thank you. What's up?
I just want to talk about the 5th game
in
Houston.
Game. Go ahead. Yeah. I mean, wait. The 6th game.
I mean. No, yes, the 6th game. Sixth game back in Houston. Right. I mean, Verlander did shut them down, but the minute Robertson came into the game, he did not have it, and I knew it was over. It was the first time he's coming at the end of the game and he didn't produce. I mean, it was a close game up to that, Mike. Anybody could have had it.
Except the Yankees didn't score any more runs. I mean, you still got to score some more runs somewhere. You got to get the runs from somewhere. The Yankees scored 1 run in 2 games. You can blame the pitching. You want them to hold them down to 0. Maybe the Yankees ran out of gas in the pen. Maybe they did. Very possible. But they did not, and they didn't go near their pen. They know their pen is a vulnerability. They didn't go near their pen in Game 7. They didn't even go to their close at the end of Game 7. So they basically told you what they think of their pen. Going into this next series, their pen is a tremendous liability for them. Wes in Westchester, what's up?
Hey, Mike. Going into that game 6, all games told, Severino, if the Yankees are going to count on him as being the number 1 starter, he has to grow into that. He's not there yet. He just doesn't seem to have the mental toughness.
He's a baby, though.
I agree, and he can grow into it. But if they're going to project him as being their number 1 guy, he still has to grow into that.
Well, but he's got tremendous stuff, though. He's the hardest.
He has the best stuff on the team.
Well, not only that, he's the hardest throwing starting pitcher in baseball.
Yes, but he wilts after a few innings.
Well, that's not fair. I thought overall he was okay in the postseason. Listen, they're all 5-inning pitchers in the postseason. What baseball has turned into, outside of the Verlander
and the Scherzer, they're all 5-6 inning pitchers, and the Kershaws. That's what the game has turned into.
If you get 6 good innings, Wes, you don't need much more. If you got a good pen, you get 6 good innings. You go to your 3 guys out of your pen, and the game's over. 6 innings is all anybody needs from their starter, except for a rare occasion. Now, Houston had a substandard bullpen. They didn't have the pen that you've seen in recent years from a Kansas City, or from the Yankees, or from the Dodgers. These guys have gas at the back of their pen. Houston does not. Houston doesn't have anything in the back of that pen that scares you. Ruben in Queens, what's up, Ruben?
Yeah, how you doing, Mike?
Good, what's up?
I just can't believe a Major League team that scored 3 runs in 4 games. After sweeping the team in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in New York, you believe they scored? What did they score?
Who, Houston? Who, the Yankees?
Yes.
They scored 3 runs in 4 games?
3 runs in the 4 games in Houston.
Yeah, well, 2 of them were against Verlander.
Yeah. Well, this guy Verlander, where did he come from? He was gone for 3 straight years.
No, wait a second, Ruben. I mean, if you need to know where Verlander came from, I mean, you're not paying attention. Okay, the guy's been one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long time. He was not having a good year because no motivation in Detroit. Detroit had gotten old. All right, none of them were doing anything. The team was kind of in a malaise. But I mean, he is Verlander for a reason. I mean, it's not like he's came out of nowhere. Kevin in Fresh Meadows. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, Mike. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Nothing much. Mike, I asked you this question as a biased Met fan. Do you think the Yankees choked? If you lose the last 2 games of a big series like that, is that not a choke?
No, man. They had a great postseason. Listen, a home series that goes back down 3-2 and you lose the series, it's not a choke. They got outpitched. They didn't choke. They played baseball. That's all. My God, it happens all the time. That's not unusual what happened there. Happened to the Yankees in 2001. Did that team choke? That Yankee team that had been brilliant in 98, 99, 2000, did they choke in 2001? Did Mariano Rivera choke? Come on now. Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. I mean, that's just, listen, there are times where players don't perform. They gag it up. But they're few and far between. Sometimes you just get beat. You know, the other team can win too. You're up 3-2. I'll tell you when the Yankees choked. The Yankees choked in 2004 when Boston beat them 4 straight times. They choked that series. They did. Because they saw it coming a mile away and they got tighter with each passing game. That series they choked. But that's rare. That's rare. That team got tighter and tighter and tighter with each passing game. That's different. That one I'll give you. That was a gag, that one in 2004. But going back to them, 3-2, facing Verlander? No, they just got outpitched. Dave in the Bronx, what's up, Dave?
How are you, Mike? Talk about home field advantage, huh? Unbelievable.
You know, you've seen that. Listen, I said it on Friday a million times. If you don't break through in Game 6, it is very hard to break through for the first time in a series in Game 7. It's very difficult to do. It's just it's just very hard. The key. Listen, I was at games and I've seen this happen many times. I was in Arizona when the Yankees came into Arizona with as much momentum as you could humanly have. And they lost Game 6 by 100 runs, and they got beat in Game 7 in the 9th inning with a 2-1 lead. I was there in Houston when the Knicks went down there. They were the better team by a mile. If it wasn't for Sam Gasol, they would have won the series in 5 games. They go there. They throw away the game in Game 6. And then Game 7, they get blown out. It's very hard. If you go back to a city up 3-2 and lose Game 6, it is very hard to win Game 7. Danny in Garwood, New Jersey. What's up, Danny?
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
What's up?
Pretty good. I'm hanging in there. Just a couple things about the Yankees. One thing is that I've talked to you in the past. I'm not a huge Joe Girardi guy, but I'm not adamant he's got to get out of here because I do agree with who you're going to replace him with. And with the Yankees here, I don't know what the plan is, but one thing you got to say is he definitely, the team played for him. And I think that going forward, if Tanaka does opt out, Mike, I think they have to let him go. I wouldn't re-sign him. I mean, as much as big as he was in the playoffs and he looked amazing.
Well, what are you replacing him with?
That's a tough question. I don't know what you're going to do as far as.
I don't think there's anybody on the market. Is there a free agent on the market of any note, guys? Is there a free agent pitcher on the market? You want to give me the list and show me the free agent pitchers as to who are the real free agent pitchers? No club options. I don't think there's anybody out there that is of any real note. And if you're going to trade for it, if the Yankees are going to call somebody about a trade, they are going to want to talk about Gleyber Torres. That's the first guy they're going to want to talk about. Adam in Hicksville, what's up, Adam?
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
What's happening?
Thank you for the 30 years of service. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In regards to the possible third base situation in Yankees, Headley and Frazier. You see the Mets possibly going for making a trade for one of the others?
I would say yes for Frazier, although I'd have to first know what the Met plan is for David Wright to make sure that he's not in the mix here. What are you going to do with Wilmer Flores? So they have some issues they have to clear up first before you get to that. But I think that could be could be a possibility. I think the Mets should look at him. I think somebody giving him 3 years could make a big difference. I really do. I just think the Yankees have too many young kids coming who are going to be, and the Yankees don't want to spend a lot of money, and they have too many kids coming who can play the infield. Darvish and Arrieta. Who else? All right, Darvish and Arrieta are. I mean, Darvish would be a good. I mean, he's a solid pitcher. Arrieta. Okay, they're not going to come cheap. I mean, they both be really expensive too. I mean, you could also keep Tanaka for the same price probably by extending him. So, I mean, I think you got to look at that. See, Tanaka was inconsistent all year, but in the postseason, he pitched like an ace. You got to take that into account. So let's see what Tanaka does. Now, let's see if, Tanaka's agents are going to read the market and see if the market's worthy of they're going to be able to get 5 years at the same rate he's getting now for 3 years, which means in the 20s. If they can do that, they can opt out. If they don't, they shouldn't opt out. And I didn't know if somebody would give him, I wouldn't give him a $100 million deal guaranteed with his situation where he's not durable, he's inconsistent. This year his ERA was up a run and a half, and he's had some injuries that we know about. I would have a problem under that condition. I would have a problem giving him a guaranteed $100+ million. He's got $67 million guaranteed for 3 years without moving a muscle. Unless I knew I had at least 110 on the table for 5 years, I'm not opting out unless I know I have that. If I'm his agent, because I got 67 guaranteed for 3, and then I'm a free agent again. As we approach 2, when we come back at 2, remember we got the Met press conference to name their new manager, Mickey Callaway, at 4. We got Eli Manning at 5. When we come back at 2, we'll take your calls on the football Giants.